Chapter 30. It seems that Chen'er has really grown up. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chu Yuqin felt that if she continued like this, something might happen. Then she said to Lu Chen in shame and anger, "Chen'er, if you don't let go of Auntie will be angry." Seeing Chu Yuqin's blushing cheeks and her angry look, Lu Chen had no choice but to let her go. Lu Chen was not in a hurry at this moment. Most women in ancient times cared about reputation. Although Chu Yuqin's favorability was very high, she might not be able to accept the relationship with him for the time being. She could just work on it slowly. After seeing Lu Chen let go, Chu Yuqin quickly took a few steps back and took a position away from Lu Chen, but she did not continue to blame Lu Chen. Chu Yuqin sensed her own skill. After discovering that her skill had returned, she asked curiously, "Chen'er, my skill disappeared just now. Is this related to your chance?" Lu Chen replied, "Well, this has something to do with the skills I practice. As long as a woman who is deeply in love with me comes into contact with my body, her skills will temporarily disappear and her whole body will be weak." Upon hearing this, Chu Yuqin instantly understood what Lu Chen meant. She glared at Lu Chen, then spat with a pretty face, "You little rascal, what are you talking about? I'm your aunt. Okay, I won't bullshit you anymore, I'm going to go on patrol." Before she finished speaking, Chu Yuqin turned around and left. To be precise, she turned around and ran away. Chu Yuqin felt like her heart was about to jump out of her chest at this moment, and her body became extremely hot. What did she just hear? That little villain is actually trying to get her idea. How dare he think about it, she is his aunt. Although they are not related by blood, he grew up watching them. And she was still a widow. Although she was still innocent and had no sexual relations, she had been married after all. How could he have thoughts about her? But having said that, she herself had gradually lost control just now. When she was in the capital, she often checked Lu Chen's body, but she didn't feel like she did today at that time. Only a few months later, she actually had such thoughts about Lu Chen. Chu Yuqin felt a little guilty in her heart. How could she have other thoughts about Lu Chen? Chu Yuqin sighed and said to herself, "Well, it seems that Chen'er has really grown up and become more and more manly. I have to keep a distance from him in the future." Then Chu Yuqin began to exercise, trying to calm down her restless body. At this time, Lu Chen stood there and saw Chu Yuqin's plump figure and charming back. He suddenly felt as if his body was on fire. Then he immediately went to the north courtyard. At this time, Zhou Yuyu had just gotten up and was about to go to Mu Zixuan's place. "Xiaohuan, I'm going to Sister Mu's place first. Come over after you pack up." After the words fell, Zhou Yuyu walked out the door. As a result, as soon as he went out, he met Lu Chen. Without saying a word, Lu Chen directly picked up Zhou Yuyu's delicate body and walked into the room. Zhou Yuyu exclaimed, "Ah, Your Majesty." Hearing Zhou Yuyu's voice, the maid Xiaohuan who was making the bed quickly turned her head. Seeing Lu Chen hugging Zhou Yuyu, Xiaohuan's face instantly turned red. As a maid of the palace, how could she not understand what was going to happen next? Xiaohuan quickly got out of the way, then left the room and closed the door. The host and Zhou Yuyu develop a relationship once, and the experience value of the qi refining technique will be increased by 10, and the experience value of the rejuvenation hand will be increased by 20. Congratulations on successfully getting Zhou Yuyu pregnant and receiving a reward of 10,000 kilograms of breeding potatoes. Rewards for pregnancy are encouraging rewards, so the rewards are less. If you successfully give birth to a child, you will get richer rewards. After his body stabilized, Lu Chen felt much better. Today's events also made Lu Chen realize that he had to break through to the 9th level quickly, otherwise he would not be able to control his body and problems would easily occur. It doesn't matter what he does in the mansion or in the inner courtyard. After all, the inner courtyard is all his own, but if one day after he leaves the palace and goes outside, he still can't control himself when he sees a beautiful woman, it will be a big loss. After calming down, Lu Chen looked down at the little beauty in his arms. Zhou Yuyu's star eyes were slightly closed at this time, her face was red, and her lotus-like jade arms were placed on his shoulders. Zhou Yuyu belongs to the petite and cute type. Lu Chen felt a little guilty when he thought that he had been cultivating a relationship with her recently and that she hadn't had much rest. although this is his woman, Lu Chen does not regard her as a tool to have children. He really likes them. At this time, Lu Chen took a look at the reward he had just received, and couldn't help but smile. Then he gently touched Zhou Yuyu's skin and said in her ear, "Yuyo, you are really my lucky star." With 10,000 kilograms of breeding potatoes, the entire North County could be planted with potatoes in a few years. Due to the cold weather, Beijun is not suitable for growing rice, and the wheat yield is not very high, but potatoes are different. The soil in North County is just right for growing potatoes. After potatoes are planted in Beijun, Beijun will have one more food ration, and the people will no longer be so short of food. In an agricultural society, what is most important? Of course, food is the most important. Only when you have food in your hands can you be calm in your heart. After Wang Qingci returned to Baihualu, the old woman from yesterday came to her again. "Saint, how was your inquiry last night?" Wang Qingci replied calmly, "I have not discovered the existence of that mysterious master for the time being. There is only Chu Yuqin, a 9th-grade master in the inner courtyard." Hearing this, the old woman immediately said, "Holy girl, since the mysterious master is no longer in Beiwang mansion, let's take action tonight." Wang Qingci frowned, and then asked, "Grandma, you seem to be in a hurry." Chen Yu quickly said, "Holy girl, this mission was originally given to us by the 8th prince. If we wait until the people from the Blood Moon Tower arrive to complete the mission, your status in front of the 8th prince will definitely plummet. We might as well complete the task before the Blood Moon Tower comes, so that the 8th prince can see your value." Wang Qingci then said, "No need, since the 8th prince has sent people from the Blood Moon Tower here, just to make sure nothing goes wrong. If we act in advance and alert the enemy, leading to the failure of this assassination mission, the 8th prince will be blamed, and our entire Yenyu pavilion will not be able to afford it." Seeing Wang Qingci say this, Chen Yu couldn't keep talking. A few hours later, Beijun, Yubeiqing, a group of people wearing black and red clothes were sitting around in a restaurant. At this time, a bird flew onto the shoulder of a man wearing a bamboo hat. The man caught the bird, took off the paper tied to it from its talons, and then opened the paper and took a look. After reading the content on the note, the corners of the man's mouth raised slightly. "Very good. Now that the Grandmaster has left, it's time for you, the good-for-nothing prince, to go down and accompany my brothers." Night, another black shadow appeared in the inner courtyard of the palace. Different time, same place, same people. After seeing this black shadow, Chu Yuqin was about to draw her sword when she heard the black shadow say, "Mrs. Chu, you haven't rested so late. Thank you for your hard work for the prince's safety." It seems that Mrs. Chu really cares about the prince. Hearing Wang Qingci's voice, Chu Yuqin snorted coldly, "Sneaky, what does it look like?" Although Lu Chen had already told her in the morning that Wang Qingci was his and that he could completely control them, but for some reason, Chu Yuqin always felt a little uncomfortable. She didn't like this Wang Qingci at all. Wang Qingci was about to say something when he heard Lu Chen's voice coming from the room. "Qingci, come in quickly." Hearing Lu Chen's voice, Wang Qingci had no choice but to immediately bypass Chu Yuqin and enter Lu Chen's room. When Lu Chen and Wang Qingci were cultivating their relationship last night, Lu Chen discovered that his qi refining technique did not increase experience points. After asking the system later, I found out that a woman could only provide him with experience points once a day. He had just cultivated a relationship with Wang Qingci during the day yesterday, and he came again at night. So naturally he had no experience value. There was no other way, so Lu Chen had no choice but to ask Wang Qingci to come every night these days. He must quickly advance to the 9th level. Updates and adjustments. In the future, updates will be adjusted to 11 to 1 o'clock noon. I also recommend a book by the author, Weird Resurrection, rewarding the weird super rocket at the start, a harem novel, and Shenhao Invincible. This is a free book for members. If you are a member, you can pay a little attention. Chapter 31 The Function of Rejuvenation Hands. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Not long after Wang Qingci entered Lu Chen's room, her voice came out. Chu Yuqin, who was at the entrance of the courtyard, heard her voice and said coldly, "It's so shameless." Naturally, Chu Yuqin didn't know how to talk about her Chen'er, so she could only scold Wang Qingci. As soon as she finished speaking, Chu Yuqin turned around and left. She didn't want to continue listening to Chang Zhen here. otherwise she wouldn't be able to bear it anymore. At the same time, inside the room, after Lu Chen and Wang Qingci cultivated their relationship for a while, the system beeped. The host cultivates a relationship with Wang Qingci once, and the experience value of the qi refining art is increased by 20. This cultivation of relationship triggers an emotional critical strike, and an additional 40 experience points are obtained. The experience value of the rejuvenation hand is increased by 20, and the rejuvenation hand breaks through to the first level. Hearing the system prompt, Lu Chen was stunned for a moment, and then became extremely excited. He originally thought that after Zhou Yuyu became pregnant, it would be more difficult for him to break through to the 9th level before the arrival of the Blood Moon Tower, unless Chu Yuqin was pushed away. Otherwise, Wang Qingci could only provide himself with 20 experience points every day, which would take at least 5 days. Maybe within 5 days, those guys from Blood Moon Tower would have arrived in Yancheng. As a result, he gained 60 experience points today. Emotional crit, that's really good stuff. If there were a few more emotional critical attacks, wouldn't it be easier for him to improve his realm in the future? Just when Lu Chen was thinking this, he found that green gas seemed to be emitting from his hands. What is this? Lu Chen raised his right hand, replaced it with his left hand to hug Wang Qingci, and then looked at his right hand seriously. System, what happened to my hand? This is the ability of the rejuvenation hand. The host can use the rejuvenation hand to treat illnesses and injuries in the future. Hearing the sound of the system, Lu Chen put down his right hand, wanting to test the ability of the rejuvenating hand. When his right hand came into contact with Wang Qingci's delicate body again, Wang Qingci couldn't help but let out a cry. My lord, what are you doing? My waist is so comfortable. Hearing this, Lu Chen's eyes lit up. Unexpectedly, as soon as he touched Wang Qingci's body, the rejuvenating hand had an immediate effect. Lu Chen soon understood what was going on. It turned out that when he triggered the emotional critical attack before, he was too angry and too fierce, and accidentally hurt Wang Qingci's waist. Now the spiritual energy gathered on her right hand was helping Wang Qingci repair the muscle damage in her body, so Wang Qingci felt very comfortable. The rejuvenating hand technique is quite good. Any minor injuries or illnesses in the future can be recovered quickly. At this time, Lu Chen patted Wang Qingci's buttocks with his big hand, and then said with a smile, "How does it feel to be my slave girl?" Hearing this, Wang Qingci's cheeks turned red and his eyes filled with spring as he replied, "My lord, please don't humiliate the slave family." Wang Qingci didn't know what her future would be like, but she was already used to being with Lu Chen. Although they had only developed a relationship together a few times, she could no longer leave Lu Chen. This bad man not only captured her heart, but conquered her whole being. Lu Chen said at this time, "When I resolve the matter at the Blood Moon Tower, you can move to the palace." After hearing this, Wang Qingci was silent for a moment. To be honest, she also wanted to come to the palace to serve Lu Chen every day. But she thought of a question, that is, in front of King Bei, can her value be shown only in bed? Although both body and mind are in the shape of Beiwang, Wang Qingci does not want to completely become a tool used by Beiwang to satisfy his base desires. She wanted to show a lot of value in front of Lu Chen. Only in this way could she go further, and King Bei would value her as a slave girl more. Even if one day she becomes old and loses her beauty, if she makes a great contribution to the palace, it is unlikely that King Bei will kill her. Thinking of this, Wang Qingci said, "Your Majesty, the slave family wants to stay in Baihua building to collect intelligence for the prince." Hearing this, Lu Chen asked doubtfully, "Don't you want to come to the palace to serve me?" Wang Qingci quickly said, "That's not the case. The new family just feels that if they come to the palace like this, others will think that the new family is from the palace in the future, and then there will be no way to collect information for the prince. After the assassination of the Blood Moon Tower is over, the 8th prince will definitely not give up. He might even send someone to assassinate the prince. If the prince has the slave family as a chess piece, then no matter what the 8th prince does, the slave family will be able to do it for the second time. Let the prince know as soon as possible." After hearing what Wang Qingci said, Lu Chen felt that it made sense. Baihua Tower is a place of fireworks, so it is indeed easy to collect intelligence, and there is a real possibility that his 8th emperor brother will not give up. If Wang Qingci, the saint of Yanyu Pavilion, is here, maybe he will be able to monitor Lu Xuyuan's every move in the future, this is also a good thing for him. Thinking of this, Lu Chen gently touched Wang Qingci's jade back, and then said, "Okay then, you can continue to stay in Baihua building. If my 8th emperor brother makes any moves in the future, please inform me immediately." Seeing that Lu Chen agreed to his proposal, Wang Qingci was very happy. She finally found an opportunity to show her own value. This was a good start, and it also meant that her value was no longer just for Lu Chen to play with. The next day, after getting up in the morning, Lu Chen simply ate something and then went to find Chu Yuqin. Seeing Lu Chen's extremely energetic look, Chu Yuqin felt a little curious. Why is it that Lu Chen is entangled with women every day, but his body doesn't seem to be affected much? It stands to reason that men will lose their energy if they do things between men and women. And lusting after women is a taboo for those who practice martial arts. Warriors often say, a woman only affects the speed at which I draw my sword. This statement is not groundless. If you are addicted to female sex, it may indeed slow down the warrior's reaction speed. Chu Yuqin thought to herself, could it be because Lu Chen had an immortal connection? So he won't be affected by things between men and women. Seeing Chu Yuqin's beautiful eyes scanning her body, Lu Chen said with a smile, "Aunt Chu, is there something on me?" After Chu Yuqin came to her senses and realized her gaffe, she coughed quickly and said, "Chen'er, I found that you have been having sex with men and women every day recently. Although it is important to carry on the family line, you should also pay attention to your health." Lu Chen smiled and said, "Don't worry, Aunt Chu, I know what's going on. By the way, Aunt Chu, I'm looking for you today and I have something to tell you." When he said this, Lu Chen's face became serious. That's what Lu Chen is like. When he talks about business, he won't smile playfully. Seeing that Lu Chen's face was so serious, Chu Yuqin knew that there must be something important, so she asked, "Chen'er, is it something related to the palace?" Lu Chen nodded, "I have sent someone to invite General Li Feng. I believe he will come to the palace soon." Seeing Lu Chen mention Li Feng, Chu Yuqin realized that what Lu Chen was going to say might not be simple. At this time, the maid outside came in and said, "Your Majesty, General Li is here." Lu Chen said, "Aunt Chu, let's go to the martial arts training ground first." "Good." After the words fell, the two went to the palace's martial arts training ground. Li Feng, who was wearing armor, was walking around the martial arts training ground. The armor on his body made a clanging sound. He was curious about what important matter the king of the north wanted to find him at this time. After King Bei came to Beijing, he seemed to have done nothing except letting him train the army. Even the princess was responsible for opening the shops, while King Bei was living and drinking in the inner courtyard. Of course, Li Feng always thought that this was King Bei trying to confuse others, making outsiders think that he was a useless prince. At this time, Li Feng couldn't help but wonder. Could it be that King Bei came to him at this time because he thought the time was ripe? Can he start his next plan? Chapter 32: A Gift for the Blood Moon Tower. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Lu Chen and Chu Yuqin arrived at the martial arts training ground, Li Feng hurriedly came over and saluted and said, "I will meet the prince and Mrs. Chu." Lu Chen nodded slightly, and then said, "Let me get down to business. I got information here that Blood Moon Tower sent assassins to assassinate me. This time they not only sent 5 ninth grade masters, but also the deputy of Blood Moon Tower. The host also came in person." Hearing this, Li Feng's expression suddenly changed, and then he asked, "My lord, are you sure that the deputy owner of the Blood Moon Tower is coming in person?" Li Feng had heard about the deputy owner of the Blood Moon building. It was said that that person was already a half-step master, which made him very worried. Lu Chen said, "If the information is correct, he should have come in person." Chu Yuqin thought for a moment, and then said, "Shuyue Tower is so courageous that he dares to send people to assassinate you again and again." Lu Chen said, "If there was no one behind them to support them, they wouldn't dare to do this." Li Feng looked at Lu Chen and asked tentatively, "My lord, what are you going to do?" Li Feng knew that Lu Chen had a weapon that could easily kill a 9th grade master, so he thought that King Bei would not be afraid of the assassins sent by Shuyue Tower at all, but since Lu Chen found him, there must be some arrangement. Lu Chen did not answer immediately, but asked instead, "General Li, Have you completely taken control of the army in Beijun? Li Feng replied, Your Majesty, please rest assured. Thanks to the reorganization of your subordinates, the army of Beijun has completely belonged to Beiwang Mansion. Lu Chen said, This is best. Since the people from the Blood Moon Tower are coming, we should entertain them well. By the way, General Li, go and call the soldiers who escorted me to Beijun later. I have one more thing to tell you. Hearing this, Li Feng asked cautiously, Your Majesty, in what name did you call them here? Those more than 100 soldiers are all 3rd and 4th grade warriors. Even though there are only more than 100 3rd and 4th grade warriors, in a poor place like Beijun, these people can be considered a very powerful force. If they all come here, the North Palace will definitely arouse the curiosity of the people in Yanqing. Moreover, there are still many people watching from the North Palace. After Lu Chen came to Beijun, he has been having fun every day. As a result, so many soldiers were suddenly summoned. It is difficult not to make people wonder if the North Palace is planning to do something big. Lu Chen thought for a moment and said, Just tell them that their family members have arrived in Beijun. I will take this opportunity to hold a feast to thank them for escorting them all the way, and to meet their relatives at the same time. Li Feng instantly understood what Lu Chen meant, and then said, Okay, Your Majesty, I will take care of it now. Li Feng then turned and left Beiwang Mansion. After Li Feng left, Chu Yuqin looked at Lu Chen and said, Chen'er, the deputy owner of the Blood Moon building should already be at the level of a half-step master. I can hold him back then, but the other 5 9th-level warriors, I'm afraid it will be difficult for me to contain them. Although the mysterious weapon on Lu Chen's body is indeed powerful and can kill a 9th-level warrior instantly, if the other party attacks him at the same time, Lu Chen may not be able to react. Chu Yuqin was a little worried. There must be more than 6 people coming from Zula to assassinate Lu Chen this time. Last time, they sent many 3rd and 4th grade warriors to assassinate Lu Chen. This time they come to Beijun, they will definitely send many 3rd and 4th grade warriors. Those 3rd and 4th grade warriors were not the main force, but they were able to hold back the people from the North Palace, making it difficult for the people from the North Palace to protect Lu Chen. After experiencing what happened last time, Chu Yuqin also realized that her own abilities were limited. Even if she could withstand the attack of a half-step master, there was no way to contain everyone. The last time she faced the assassination attempt at Shuyue Tower, if Lu Chen hadn't taken out the mysterious weapon at the critical moment, she might have lost her Chen'er forever. Lu Chen understood what Chu Yuqin was worried about, and then he said to Chu Yuqin, Aunt Chu, when General Li comes back later, I will show you something. Hearing this, Chu Yuqin became a little excited. She guessed that what Lu Chen showed her was a weapon, but she didn't know what kind of weapon it was. Afterwards, the palace began to get busy. After Mu Zixuan heard that Lu Chen was going to entertain the relatives of the soldiers who had escorted them to Beijun, she took the initiative to take care of the matter. When it was almost noon, many people entered the Beiwang mansion. Seeing the carriages and horses coming and going, people were a little curious and thought that the Beiwang had taken a concubine again. As the main person in charge of Yanyu Pavilion in Yanqing, Chenyu felt something was wrong when she saw so many people coming and going from Beiwang Mansion, so she disguised herself a little, came to the door of Beiwang Mansion, and found a person to inquire about Beiwang Mansion. Sir, is there anything big going on in Beiwang Mansion today? Why is it so lively? Hearing this question, the young man watching the excitement in front of Chenyu replied, I heard that the king of Bei is going to entertain the soldiers and relatives who escorted him to Beijun. The young man whispered at this time, it is said that if it hadn't been for them, King Bei would have died on the way to Bei County. After hearing the young man's answer, Chenyu was slightly relieved. It turned out to be like this. She thought that King Bei had already noticed, Zula will be coming to Beijun in a few days. If Beiwang notices any clues at this time, it will be troublesome. Chenyu then returned to Baihua Tower and told Wang Qingci what happened in the Beiwang mansion today. Wang Qingci was a little confused after hearing about the movements of the Beiwang mansion. If Lu Chen planned to make arrangements in advance, he wouldn't start making arrangements now. After all, no one from the Blood Moon Tower had arrived yet. Could it be that King Bei really just wanted to thank the soldiers who escorted him to Bei County? Wang Qingci always felt a little strange, but now that she was from Beiwang, there was no need for her to find out too much about what Beiwang was going to do. Besides, she has to go to Beiwang mansion to serve Beiwang tonight. If she wants to know what Beiwang is doing, she can just ask him tonight. Noon, Lu Chen'er said some words of thanks at the banquet, and then let people eat and drink with open stomachs. At this time, Li Feng came to Lu Chen's side and whispered, "Your Majesty, everyone is here." Lu Chen nodded, and then said, "After dinner, come to the backyard of the palace." As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Chen started drinking with the soldiers. It was impossible to tell that he had anything important to do with them later. After lunch, the soldiers came to the backyard drunkenly. Lu Chen said he would reward them, but the soldiers were not fools and knew that King Bei wanted to see them. After arriving at the backyard, Lu Chen glanced at the soldiers. These soldiers were now basically loyal to over 80, and they were considered his own. When Chu Yuqin saw that everyone had arrived, she asked, "Chen'er, what did you say you wanted to show us?" Lu Chen showed a smile, then asked someone to bring in some cattle and sheep that had been slaughtered at noon, and wrapped the cattle and sheep in sophisticated armor. Then Lu Chen took out a grenade that was larger than an adult's fist and said to everyone, "Everyone, step back 50 steps." After hearing this, everyone immediately took 50 steps back without even thinking about it. Immediately afterwards, Lu Chen opened the safety catch and threw the grenade directly. The next moment, a deafening sound came, frightening the already drunken soldiers to the point of losing their drunkenness. After a while, their ears were still buzzing. As the grenade exploded, a cloud of white smoke rose in the distance, and countless holes appeared in the armor wrapped around the cattle and sheep. Seeing this scene, the soldiers were stunned and froze in place, not daring to move. Thunder. Can their prince summon thunder? Real or fake? Is this something a human can do? Could it be that their prince is an immortal? Although some of the soldiers were still confused, Li Feng and Chu Yuqin had already realized that the sound just now was caused by the thing in Lu Chen's hand, but even so, Li Feng and Chu Yuqin still felt extremely shocked. Lu Chen said at this time, "Okay, let's all come and take a look." As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Chen walked towards the place where the explosion had just occurred. Seeing their princes walking up, the soldiers quickly followed. Chapter 33 Breakthrough to Level 9. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lu Chen's grenade was obtained from the novice gift pack, and he had never used it. In order to test the explosion range of these grenades, Lu Chen specially took one out to test it. The grenades in the novice gift pack are much larger than the ordinary grenades on Earth. They are not portable grenades, so they are relatively powerful. After Lu Chen approached the place where the grenade exploded, he found that the armor within 10 meters had been penetrated by the fragments from the grenade explosion, and the bodies of cattle and sheep were full of holes. After the soldiers saw the wounds on the cattle and sheep, they couldn't help but feel a little scared. Fortunately, they were relatively far away just now. If they were closer, their bodies would probably be filled with blood holes. Lu Chen said to Chu Yuqin and Li Feng at this time, "Generally, Aunt Chu, what do you think of the weapon I just used?" Li Feng immediately said, "With such a magical weapon, the prince will definitely be able to rule the world." As soon as Li Feng finished speaking, the soldiers all knelt down and said in unison, "We congratulate the prince on obtaining the artifact. The prince will surely dominate the world and be powerful all over the world." Lu Chen was speechless. Mater is a bunch of sycophants. "Okay, everyone, get up." After hearing Lu Chen's words, the soldiers immediately stood up again. Chu Yuqin asked at this time, "Chen'er, wasn't that thing just disposable? Do you still have many more?" Lu Chen said, "Not too many, only a few dozen, but when the conditions are mature in the future, we can make them ourselves." Hearing Lu Chen's answer, Chu Yuqin was extremely excited. With this kind of artifact, it would probably be easier for Lu Chen to compete for the position in the capital in the future. At this time, Lu Chen magically took out a grenade from his sleeve, and then said to Li Feng, "Generally, I will teach you how to use it first. When the Bloody Moon Tower assassins come, you can use this to entertain them." "Yes, Your Majesty." Immediately afterwards, Lu Chen taught Li Feng and the soldiers how to use grenades. Of course, this time he did not directly pull out the safety bolt. After teaching the soldiers how to use it, Lu Chen said to the soldiers, when King Bei was giving rewards to the soldiers, thunder fell from the palace. King Bei was so frightened that he hid in his room and stayed there all afternoon. When the soldiers heard what Lu Chen said, they immediately understood what Lu Chen meant. After all, the sound of the grenade exploding was so loud that people around the palace must have heard it. If you don't find an excuse, it might arouse people's suspicion. After Lu Chen finished speaking, he had people clean up the backyard quickly, and then he returned to the main courtyard. After Li Feng and the soldiers left the backyard, their relatives gathered around them and asked them what had just happened. Li Feng and others said that there was a thunderstorm in the backyard just now, which shocked the prince. At dusk, the news that Prince Bei's mansion was struck by lightning spread throughout Yancheng. People suspected that Prince Bei had done something unscrupulous and that was why he was struck by lightning. At the same time, by Hualu, Wang Qingci was sitting on the beauty couch in the attic, with Yun Shang half-stretched, looking very lazy. At this time, Chen Yu came to the attic. "Grandma Yu, what's the matter?" Wang Qingci was the first to ask. Chen Yu replied, "Holy girl, our people heard the news. When King Bei was rewarding the soldiers after dinner at noon, thunder fell from the sky. King Bei was so frightened that he hid in his room and did not come out all afternoon." Hearing this, Wang Qingci smiled slightly, then got up from the beauty's bed, showing a very interested look. "This is interesting. Is King Bei injured?" Naturally, Wang Qingci didn't think that Lu Chen was really frightened by the thunder and hid in the room all afternoon and didn't come out. She would only suspect that King Bei was preparing something. As soon as you hear the words being frightened by the thunder, you can tell that it is diverting people's attention. Chen Yu said at this time, "We don't know this." Wang Qingci said calmly, "Then I will go to Beiwang mansion tonight to find out the news." Hearing this, Chen Yu said with some worry, "Holy girl, you go to the North Prince's mansion every night, and it is easy to be discovered by Chu Yuqin. Before the people from the Blood Moon Tower arrive, I think you should not go to the North Prince's mansion for the time being. Better." Wang Qingci said, "You don't have to worry about this. I usually don't go near the inner courtyard and Chu Yuqin can't find me." Having said this, Wang Qingci stood up and prepared to change clothes and go to the North Prince's mansion. In the dead of night, a black figure appeared in the inner courtyard of Beiwang mansion again. At this time, Chu Yuqin was still patrolling the inner courtyard. Because of the grenade incident during the day, Chu Yuqin was worried that spies would come to the North Palace to inquire about the news, so she was extra serious tonight. When she saw a black figure swaggering in the main courtyard of the North Palace, Chu Yuqin was about to take action when she heard the woman in black say with a smile, "I have met Madame Chu." "Good evening, Madame Chu." Hearing Wang Qingci's voice, Chu Yuqin snorted coldly and said, "Take off the scarf." Wang Qingci took off the hijab without hesitation. After confirming Wang Qingci's identity, Chu Yuqin turned around and left without talking nonsense to Wang Qingci. Seeing Chu Yuqin's leaving figure, Wang Qingci raised the corners of her mouth slightly, and then said to herself, "It seems that Mrs. Chu really hates me." After the words fell, Wang Qingci walked towards Lu Chen's room. After entering the room, Wang Qingci originally planned to ask Lu Chen if anything happened in the palace during the day, but was blocked before he could say anything. Wang Qingci was speechless. Although she had a great change in her opinion of Beiwang, she also found that the rumors about Beiwang's lust were absolutely true. Beiwang can no longer be described as lustful, he is simply a hungry ghost in lust. Wang Qingci naturally didn't know why Lu Chen was so anxious. Lu Chen only needed 30 experience points to break through to the second level of qi refining technique. Of course, he was very anxious. He couldn't wait to become a 9th level warrior. As the relationship between him and Wang Qingci was completed, the system prompt finally sounded. The host cultivates a relationship with Wang Qingci once, and the experience value of the qi refining art is increased by 20, triggering an emotional critical hit, and the experience value is added by 40. The qi refining art breaks through to the second level, and the experience value of the rejuvenation hand is increased by 10. Congratulations to the host for raising the realm to 9th grade. After hearing the system prompt, Lu Chen calmed down, then he felt a majestic force pouring into his body. For a moment, his body became lighter, and his whole body seemed to have endless strength. Not only that, he found that his eyes had become clearer and his brain was particularly energetic. After enjoying the strange feeling brought by the improvement of realm, Lu Chen couldn't help but sigh in his heart, "Is this a 9th level warrior? I never thought that one day I would be able to become a 9th grade warrior." When he was in the capital, He always thought that he would just lie down like this for the rest of his life and that he would be an ordinary person for the rest of his life. After all, he had no talent for practicing martial arts and could not endure the hardships of practicing martial arts. Unexpectedly, after obtaining the system, he broke through to the 9th level in less than half a year. Very nice. After improving his own strength, he can be considered to have a certain ability to protect himself. From now on, he can go out for a walk appropriately and plan the future development direction of Beijing. Chapter 34: A Dark and Windy Night. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A few days later, Baihualu, when many guests came to the door of Baihua Building today, they found that the door of Baihua Building was closed. There was a sign at the door with a line of words on it, saying that Baihua Building would be closed for renovation in preparation for the Oiran Convention in half a month. This kind of thing is not surprising. The reason why Baihua Building has become the most lively place in Yancheng is because the continuous upgrading and renovation of Baihua Building provides guests with many new and interesting things. Moreover, after every upgrade and renovation, many beautiful girls will come. This renovation has also made the guests of Baihua Building look forward to it. Of course, the renovation of Baihua Building this time is not a real renovation, but because the guests of Blood Moon Building have arrived. At this time, in the attic of Baihua Building, a man wearing a bamboo hat was looking in the direction of Beiwang Mansion. Wang Qingci sat on the beauty's couch, her two slender jade legs overlapped, and her buttocks pressed the couch slightly. Lu Yuan said at this time. Thank you, Miss Wang, for giving me the opportunity to take revenge with my own hands. In Lu Yuan's view, if Yanyu Pavilion wanted to take action against the Northern King, it was entirely possible for them to kill the Northern King without the mysterious master. However, they did not take action. Instead, they waited for Zula's arrival before discussing how to assassinate King Bei, which gave Zula the opportunity to take action. Wang Qingci said with a smile, Master Lu, I didn't wait until today for you, I did it to ensure that this assassination would be foolproof. Lu Yuan said, no matter what Miss Wang thinks, objectively she still gives me a chance. At this time, Lu Yuan could not wait to rush into the Beiwang mansion and chop off the Beiwang's head with his own hands. Although his younger brother Lu Tong might have been killed by the mysterious master of Beiwang mansion, he still placed the debt on Beiwang's head. The reason is very simple. First of all, he is not necessarily the opponent of the mysterious master. Secondly, Lu Tong died because of the assassination of King Bei, which has something to do with King Bei. The mysterious master couldn't be found or defeated, so he could only vent his anger by killing King Bei. At first, he thought that the task of assassinating the good-for-nothing Prince Beiwang was easy, so he let his younger brother go. Unexpectedly, when he saw Lu Tong again, Lu Tong's body was already burnt. If King Bei didn't die in his hands, it would be difficult to eliminate the hatred in his heart. Wang Qingci asked at this time, Master Lu, do you plan to take action tonight? Lu Yuan said, yes, I can't wait to chop off King Bei's head to pay homage to my brother's spirit in heaven. Wang Qingci said, well, our Yanyu Pavilion will fully cooperate with the Blood Moon Tower tonight. If you need anything, Lord Lu, just ask it. Lu Yuan asked, Miss Wang, just in case, I would like to ask one more question. Are you sure that the mysterious master who came to the palace with King Bei has left? Wang Qingci smiled and said, I went to the palace many times just to inquire about this matter. According to the information I collected, the mysterious master has indeed left the palace and returned to the Chu family. Lu Yuan said, if this is the case, that would be the best. Wang Qingci smiled and said, Master Lu, even if the information we collected from Yanyu Pavilion may be false, you don't have to worry too much. Even if the mysterious master returns to the North Palace again, with your strength, there should be no problem in holding him back. While you hold him back, we can definitely deal with King Bei. Lu Yuan thought for a moment and thought that what Wang Qingci said made sense. After all, they have 5 9th grades and 1 half-step master this time. If you don't count the mysterious master, Chu Yuqin is only a 9th level master in Beiwang Mansion. There is no way that 1 9th grade can contain 6 9th grades, so King Bei will definitely die tonight. Even if the mysterious master comes, it will be useless. At this time, Wang Qingci took out a map of the North Prince's mansion and said, this is the map of the North Prince's mansion. When we take action tonight, we from Yenyu Pavilion will go directly to the backyard to block the North Prince's escape path. As for the matter in the front yard, just leave it to Shuyue Tower to complete it. I wonder what you think, Lord Lu. If Mr. Lu has other ideas, you can put them forward. Lu Yuan thought for a moment, and then said, okay, just do what Miss Wang said. However, if Chu Yuqin comes to stop me at that time, could you please ask Miss Wang to hold her for a while so that I can get the head of King Bei? Chu Yuqin is a difficult person to deal with. If she comes out to stop him from killing Lu Chen, it might take him a certain amount of time to get rid of her, although he could let other ninth-grade people kill him. Lu Yuan wanted to do it himself, Wang Qingci said. There is no problem with this. Then Wang Qingci said, okay, let's make preparations ourselves. At the same time, North Palace, when the Blood Moon Tower arrived at the Beiwang Tower, Lu Chen received the news from Wang Qingci. He immediately began to mobilize his troops and prepare an ambush in the palace. This time he distributed a total of 20 grenades to the soldiers. These 20 grenades were enough to deal with Lu Yuan and the others. And they didn't throw grenades as soon as they came up. After the people from Blood Moon Tower entered their ambush circle, the soldiers would release arrows first. In the case of a good ambush, even if the people Lu Yuan and others come are at the lowest level of level 3 or 4, most of them will be shot to death by arrows. The grenades are mainly used to deal with the 5 9th grade and deputy building owners of the Blood Moon Tower. In order to prevent Mu Zixuan and his 3 pregnant wives from being frightened, Lu Chen moved them into the secret passage of the palace in advance. After everything is ready, wait for night to fall. The cold wind at night was blowing, there is no moon or stars tonight, and thick dark clouds accumulate above people's heads, as if the sky is about to fall. At this time, the entire North Palace was eerily quiet, except for the sound of wind. After an unknown amount of time, a group of people dressed in black broke in directly from the main entrance of the palace. When Lu Yuan and the others entered the palace, they found no one at the door, not even a patrolling guard. This made Lu Yuan suddenly feel a little bad. The North Palace is such a big palace, it is impossible not to have even one guard. Maybe King Bei knew in advance that they were coming and ran away. At this time, Lu Yuan had no idea that the North Prince's mansion would ambush them. After all, there were enough 9th-level warriors coming this time, and they didn't even pay attention to a mere North Prince's mansion. In Lu Yuan's view, even if the Beiwang mansion knew that they were coming, the Beiwang would only be frightened and run away, and it was impossible to ambush them in turn. Unless King Bei's brain is broken, he would do such a thing. At this time, Lu Yuan's face darkened. If King Bei really escaped, it would probably take some time to kill King Bei. The capital city couldn't afford to wait, and I didn't want to waste time. Then Lu Yuan said to his subordinates, search for me. Even if you dig 3 feet into the ground, I will find the King of the North. Chapter 35 Immortal. There is an immortal in the Beiwang mansion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Following Lu Yuan's order, people from the Blood Moon Tower immediately poured into the North Prince's mansion. Just when the people from Blood Moon Tower came to the martial arts training ground, countless arrows flew from the sky. At this time, someone shouted loudly, Owner. We have fallen into a trap. Looking at the rain of arrows in the sky, Lu Yuan didn't panic at all. He just snorted and said, it's just a death struggle. That a 9th-level warrior cannot be killed by a rain of arrows, not to mention that he himself is a half-step master and can already release his inner strength outwards. There is no way these arrows can hit him, and even if they hit him, they can't cause him any harm. In his eyes, this kind of ambush and sneak attack was just a small move. Lu Yuan immediately said, get closer to me immediately. Hearing this, the people in the Blood Moon Tower quickly turned their backs, and then kept swinging their swords to resist the rain of arrows flying from the sky. Seeing this scene, Lu Chen was shocked. Damn it, is this a world where martial arts exists? The last time he came to Beijing to join the feudal clan, he himself was in the carriage and did not see his own guards resisting the rain of arrows. This scene today shocked him very much. Without using a shield, you can actually withstand the rain of arrows with the sword in your hand. Although some people were not completely blocked and were still shot to death, most people in the Blood Moon Tower survived. Today's scene also made Lu Chen realize how important the frag grenade given to him by the system was. if there were no grenades, I am afraid that with the few people in their palace, there would be no way to deal with the assassins in the Blood Moon Tower. At this time, Lu Chen also felt a little lucky. Fortunately, the novice gift package given to him by the system contained a modern killing weapon such as grenades. As soon as the arrows prepared by the palace soldiers were shot, Lu Yuan looked at the rooftops in the distance and said mockingly, "You want to kill us with just a few arrows? Isn't King Bei a little too naive?" Lu Chen had no intention of talking nonsense with Lu Yuan. He directly said to Li Feng and others, "Ignore them, just throw the grenade, pull the safety catch and wait for 3 breaths." Upon hearing this, Li Feng and others quickly took out the grenades in their arms. At this time, the soldiers holding grenades in their hands could not help but tremble. After all, they had seen the power of this kind of killing weapon. They were afraid that they would accidentally throw the grenade later. If they hadn't been thrown out, I'm afraid they would have died. Seeing how nervous the soldiers were, Lu Chen said, "Don't worry, I can't blow you up." As soon as Lu Chen finished speaking, Li Feng pulled the safety catch of the grenade in his hand. And then he only held it in his hand for less than 2 seconds before he threw the grenade into the crowd in the Blood Moon Tower. Although Li Feng is a 7th level warrior, he is also very nervous when using a grenade. Originally, Lu Chen wanted them to airblast, but no one knew whether those warriors would kick the grenades back. If they did, they would be out of luck. Fortunately, when Li Feng's grenade was thrown into the crowd, Lu Yuan and others didn't take it seriously. They thought it was a stone thrown by Beiwang, and they easily dodged the grenade thrown by Li Feng. Lu Yuan mocked again and said, "Ha ha ha, is the northern palace so poor that it has no arrows and can only throw stones?" However, as soon as Lu Yuan finished speaking, a loud noise exploded in the crowd. Boom! As a cloud of white smoke rose up, people around him died and were injured, and the scene was filled with wailing. After seeing this scene, everyone in the Blood Moon Tower was frightened and did not react for a long time. It wasn't until the second grenade exploded in the crowd that the warriors in the Blood Moon Tower began to run away like crazy. "Oh my God! It's thunder! Run quickly, there is someone in Beiwang Mansion who will summon thunder." Immortal. There is an immortal in Beiwang Mansion. Seeing the people in Shuyue Tower running around, Lu Yuan tightened the sword in his hand, and then roared with all his strength, "Everyone, stop here. Whoever wants to run away, I will kill." Before Lu Yuan finished speaking, a soldier from the palace threw a grenade towards Lu Yuan's location. Lu Yuan is not a fool. He already understands that this thing exploded just now. Although he doesn't know why this thing can be so lethal, he knows very well that this thing is very dangerous. Lu Yuan quickly kicked his legs forward and took 10 steps back. However, when the grenade exploded, a fragment still grazed his leg, causing his leg to bleed. Lu Yuan was relatively lucky. At this time, the 9th grade warrior who was closest to Lu Yuan directly collided with the grenade, and was blown up with more than a dozen bloody holes in an instant. Seeing this scene, Lu Yuan's body couldn't help but tremble. No doubt he was scared. He had never seen such a strange weapon. It looked like just a stone, but after it exploded, it was able to kill a 9th level warrior instantly. This completely subverted his cognition. He has never heard of such a weapon. How could such a weapon exist in this world? If that dynasty had such a killing weapon, it would probably have unified the world long ago. At the same time, the backyard of the palace, when Wang Qingci waited for the people from Baihualu to arrive in the backyard of the palace, they also heard the rumbling explosion. Hearing those voices, Wang Qingci was stunned for a moment. At this time, Chen'er beside her said, "Holy girl, it looks like it's going to rain, which can just cover up our actions." Chen'er thought the rumbling sound was thunder, but Wang Qingci obviously didn't think so. Although the dark clouds were indeed thicker tonight, the sound obviously did not come from the sky, and there was a loud echo. Something must have happened over there in the front yard. It seems that King Bei has quite a lot of secrets. At this time, one of the killers from Yanyu Pavilion suddenly reminded, "Saint, there is someone." As soon as the words fell, everyone in Baihua Tower became vigilant. They came to the back door of the palace mainly to block King Bei's escape route. Since someone appeared at the back door, it meant that King Bei and the others were ready to escape. Just when everyone in Yanyu Pavilion thought they were about to see the servants of the North Prince's mansion who had escaped, they discovered that a beautiful woman wearing a green cloud dress and a bun in her head slowly walked to the door of the backyard. Yenyu Pavilion and others immediately recognized this woman. The person who came was none other than Chu Yuqin, the 9th-level master in the Northern Palace. Seeing Chu Yuqin appear in the backyard, Chen Yu and other Yenyu Pavilion killers were stunned. Chu Yuqin, a 9th-level master, was not by King Bei's side to protect him, but she actually came to the backyard at this time. How is this going? For a time, a bad premonition surged into people's minds. Chu Yuqin asked coldly, "It's so late, where is Miss Wang planning to go?" Wang Qingci replied with a smile, "The slave family came to the North Palace to serve the prince, of course." Chu Yuqin snorted coldly and said, "It takes so many people to serve Chen'er." Chen Yu took the initiative to stand up at this time. She immediately walked in front of Wang Qingci and said, "Saint, please go to the front yard to check the situation. I feel something is wrong, I will stop it." Before Chen Yu could finish speaking, he felt a chill on his back, and then a sharp pain swept through his body. Chen Yu lowered his head slightly, unable to believe the sword blade on his chest. She turned around and found that the person who killed her was actually Wang Qingci. "Saint, you." Wang Qingci then drew out his sword, and before Chen Yu could finish speaking, Chen Yu fell to the ground unconscious. Seeing this scene, the killers in Yenyu Pavilion were stunned. They never dreamed that their saint would actually attack one of their own at this time. At this time, Wang Qingci said to Chu Yuqin again, "Mrs. Chu, please help me to clean up these people and don't let them escape." Hearing Wang Qingci's words, the killers of Yenyu Pavilion, no matter how stupid they were, realized that Wang Qingci had betrayed the 8th prince. One of them shouted loudly, "Everyone, run away. The news of the saint's betrayal must be spread." After saying that, the killer from Yenyu Pavilion ran away in several directions. At this time, Chu Yuqin just glanced coldly. Soon, there were more than a dozen corpses at the entrance to the backyard of the palace. Chapter 36 Man, Times Have Changed. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Chu Yuqin dealt with the killers in Yenyu Pavilion, she and Chu Yuqin went to the martial arts training ground. Wang Qingci was a little curious as to why Chu Yuqin dared to leave Beiwang at this time. Although she knew that Beiwang might have some strength, there were so many 9th-level warriors coming to the Blood Moon Tower, and there was also a half-step master. Is Chu Yuqin really not worried about her Chen'er being killed? Or is it that in Chu Yuqin's opinion, Lu Chen is fully capable of dealing with the killers in the Blood Moon Tower? Is the strength of Beiwang already so strong? Just when Wang Qingci's mind was filled with questions, they had already arrived at the palace's martial arts training ground. Seeing the people from the Blood Moon Tower surrounded by the martial arts training ground, Wang Qingci froze on the spot. At this time, there were corpses all over the ground in the martial arts training ground, but these corpses belonged to the killers of the Blood Moon Tower. Currently, there are only 2 9th-grade members left in the Blood Moon Tower, and Lu Yuan, the deputy owner of the Blood Moon Tower, are still alive. But the situation of the 3 of them is very bad. The 3 of them were covered in blood, and the 2 living 9th-level warriors were obviously seriously injured. If they were not treated in time, they would probably be close to death. It didn't take long. The soldiers of the North Palace actually killed all the assassins sent by the Blood Moon Tower. Wang Qingci felt as if he was dreaming. She knew that Beiwang might have some strength, but she did not expect that Beiwang could eliminate the assassins of Blood Moon Tower in such a short period of time. Those are 5 9th grades. There is also a half-step master. Even if there really were master-level experts in the Beiwang mansion, they wouldn't have been able to kill so many people in less than a quarter of an hour, right? How did Beiwang do it? Wang Qingci turned to look at Lu Chen, who was walking towards the martial arts training ground from a distance. If you want to know how Beiwang did it, you may have to ask Beiwang personally later. At this time, Lu Yuan stuck his sword on the ground and supported his wounded body. When he saw King Bei slowly walking out of the crowd, he gritted his teeth and said with a sneer, "King Bei, I didn't expect you to be the one who hid the deepest. It seems that everyone in the world has been deceived by you." At this time, Lu Yuan was no longer as energetic as before. In just a short time, almost all the people he brought were dead, with only 3 seriously injured people left. The kind of weapon that Beiwang just took out, let alone a half-step master, may not be able to completely block it when a real master comes. He never dreamed that one day he would fall into the hands of a useless prince. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Lu Chen said calmly, "Lord Lu, do you have any last words to say? When I destroy the Blood Moon Tower in the future, I may be able to convey your last words to your landlord. Lu Yuan laughed and said, Huanko kid, since you want to kill me, I will also drag you to be buried with you. Having said this, Lu Yuan suddenly pulled out the sword stuck on the ground, and then went straight to Lu Chen. A ferocious and proud smile appeared on Lu Yuan's face. If it had been before, if Beiwang had not come out, he would definitely not have been able to kill Bei King, but Beiwang absolutely shouldn't come out and ridicule him at this time. Such a close distance, and he was a half-step master. Although he was seriously injured, there was still no problem in killing a loser. Seeing this scene, Wang Qingci's expression changed drastically and she exclaimed, not good. Just when Wang Qingci thought something was going to happen to Lu Chen, he found that no one around him moved. The soldiers of the palace and Chu Yuqin just stood there and watched this scene quietly, as if they did not see Lu Yuan wanting to die with Lu Chen. Wang Qingci was stunned. She didn't understand why the palace soldiers and Chu Yuqin reacted so calmly. Lu Yuan is a half-step master, even if he is seriously injured. It is not a problem to have a 9th grade master on his back before dying, but the people in the palace were actually indifferent to this scene. Soon, Wang Qingci understood why the people in the palace had no reaction at all to this scene. At this time, Lu Chen took out a black stick-like weapon and pointed it at Lu Yuan, who was rushing towards him. After Lu Yuan saw the stick in Lu Chen's hand, he laughed loudly and said, a useless prince actually dares to fight with me alone. Do you think I can't kill you because I am seriously injured? The people around Lu Yuan did not move, and when they saw Lu Chen taking out a stick, they thought Lu Chen was stupid and wanted to end his life himself. While talking, Lu Yuan had already arrived in front of Lu Chen. Go to hell for me. Seeing that the sword in Lu Yuan's hand was about to slash at Lu Chen, Wang Qingci's heart rose to his throat. However, at this time, what she worried about did not happen. At this time, a loud voice sounded, and then Lu Chen's body took a step back. Gang. The moment the gun rang out, Lu Chen smiled and said, brother, times have changed. The next moment, Lu Yuan's body flew out instantly, and a huge blood hole appeared on his back. Seeing this scene, Wang Qingci was completely stunned. What just happened? What happened to that loud noise? She only saw Lu Yuan swinging his sword towards King Bei, and then King Bei pointed a stick at Lu Yuan. Then Lu Yuan flew out, and a huge bloody hole appeared in his body. It was clear that the northern king did not move, but Lu Yuan was dead. Wang Qingci was not a fool. She quickly realized that Lu Yuan was killed by the black stick-like thing in Lu Chen's hand. Wang Qingci was confused. A half-step master, just die. What kind of weapon does King Bei have in his hand, and why is it so terrifying? Is there really such a weapon in this world that can instantly kill a half-step master? Wang Qingci's brain instantly connected all the recent events. She finally understood why the first assassination attempt at Zula failed. I finally understood why King Bei was not afraid of Zula's assassination at all. At the same time, she also understood why the soldiers in the Northern Prince's mansion, including Chu Yuqin herself, were indifferent to the danger of the Northern Prince. Where is the danger in Beiwang? It is Lu Yuan who is in danger. A half-step master just glanced at Beiwang, and a huge blood hole instantly appeared in his body. With this kind of weapon in hand, King Bei is not afraid of any half-step master at all, let alone a half-step master. I am afraid that even a master cannot withstand that mysterious weapon. Seeing the black stick in Lu Chen's hand again, beads of cold sweat could not help but appear on Wang Qingci's white forehead. The black stick seemed to exude a strong blood energy, making Wang Qingci's delicate body tremble unconsciously. In fact, not to mention Wang Qingci, even Li Feng and others who had seen Lu Chen use Bartley to snipe an 8th-level warrior once before were equally shocked by this scene. The last time Shuyue Tower assassinated Beiwang only killed an 8th-level warrior, but this time, the person who died in the hands of King Bei was a half-step master. Half-step master. This is a being that even the imperial court wants to win over. Moreover, even the previous grenade did not kill the half-step master of Blood Moon Tower, but in front of King Bei, in front of King Bei's mysterious weapon, it only took a moment to kill this half-step master. Seeing the huge bloody hole in Lu Yuan's back, almost everyone felt a chill on their backs. For a moment, the entire martial arts training ground was as quiet as a cemetery at night. It was not until the begging for mercy of the two remaining ninth-level warriors in the Blood Moon Tower rang out that people came back to their senses. Chapter 37 The Northern King in Wang Qingci's Eyes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The two ninth-level warriors who were still alive in the Blood Moon Tower completely lost the idea of resisting when they saw Lu Yuan being instantly killed by King Bei with a mysterious weapon. A half-step master was killed like a chicken by King Bei. How could the two ninth-level warriors resist? That's a half-step master. A half-step master who is only one step away from the master. Not to mention the Grandmaster, even the Great Grandmaster had a hard time killing a half-step Grandmaster, but he was killed instantly by King Bei, a prince who was rumored to be nothing more than a waste. My lord, please spare my life. I was threatened by Lu Yuan. I have no intention of going against my lord. Your Majesty, please forgive me. I know the hiding place of the Blood Moon Tower. If your Majesty wants to destroy the Blood Moon Tower, I can lead the way for you. The two ninth-level warriors from the Blood Moon Tower kowtowed as they spoke. The blood on their heads had already stuck their hair together. Seeing this scene, Wang Qingci felt mixed emotions in his heart. She used to think that ninth-grade warriors were so powerful, especially after she became a ninth-grade warrior. She thought that one day she would be able to get rid of Yanyu Pavilion and the Wang family with her own strength, but now it seems that the ninth grade is nothing more than this, not to mention the ninth rank. Even the status of half-step master may drop. Significantly in the future, thinking of this, Wang Qingci glanced at the long black stick in Lu Chen's hand again. With that mysterious weapon, any half-step master is no different from an ordinary person. If Beiwang can mass-produce the same weapons, I am afraid that the entire martial arts world will be subverted in the future. At this time, Wang Qingci seemed to have seen the collapse of the martial arts world and the scene of King Bei unifying the entire continent. At this time, Li Feng said to Lu Chen, Your Majesty, do you want to keep the two of them? Maybe they can help us find the location of the Blood Moon Tower. Lu Chen thought for a moment, then asked, Generally, can you guarantee that these two ninth-level warriors will not escape? Li Feng said, Your Majesty, we can use hooks to lock their pipa bones so that they cannot use their skills. Lu Chen smiled and said, Generally, what I'm asking is whether you can guarantee that these two ninth-level warriors will not escape. This, Li Feng was silent. Of course there was no way he could guarantee this. Even if a hook is used to catch the two people's loot bones, the two people may still escape by various methods. After all, they are ninth-level warriors. Seeing that Li Feng was silent, Lu Chen could basically confirm that Li Feng had no way to be sure. Although he has a ninth grade and a half-step master beside him now, one is Wang Qingci and the other is Chu Yuqin. There is no way he can let them look at the assassins of Blood Moon Tower. If Li Feng and the others were to look at these two assassins, Li Feng would be of 7th grade, and the rest of the soldiers would be of 3rd or 4th grade. If the assassins in Blood Moon Tower really break free, these soldiers may not be able to stop them, so to be on the safe side, it's best to get rid of these two people. Thinking of this, Lu Chen didn't say anything, and magically took out the Desert Eagle from his sleeve, and then aimed at the two ninth-level warriors. Bang bang. 2 shots, the last 2 assassins sent by the Blood Moon Tower also fell to the ground. At this point, all the assassins sent by the Blood Moon Tower were wiped out, and the 8th Prince's plan failed again. Seeing the 2 ninth-grade masters lying on the ground, the soldiers couldn't help but swallow their saliva. If it were before, one 9th-level warrior would be able to defeat 50 of them. Under normal circumstances, these 2 9th-grade kings are fully capable of killing all of their more than 100 soldiers, but now, 2 9th-grade masters were easily executed by their prince. The weapons on the prince are simply terrifying. They dare not think about what would happen if someone used this weapon on them in the future. At this time, Li Feng and others were extremely happy. Fortunately, they were smart and knew to stay in Beijing. If they had chosen to return to the capital, let alone whether they could get out of Yanqing, even if they return to the capital, when the Northern King rises in the future, they may have to directly face the mysterious weapons in the hands of the Northern King. Thinking of the previous scene of the grenade explosion, the soldiers' bodies could not help but tremble. At this time, Wang Qingci stared at the Desert Eagle in Lu Chen's hand. She just thought that the North King only had that long black weapon, but she didn't expect that the North King actually had a mysterious weapon that could easily kill a 9th-level warrior. How could King Bei have such a terrifying weapon? Where did these weapons come from? Wang Qingci was very sure that there were no such terrifying weapons in this world, otherwise the world of martial arts would have been in chaos. At this moment, Lu Chen turned to look at Wang Qingci. Wang Qingci's delicate body trembled slightly and her brain was stunned. Just being glanced at by Lu Chen made Wang Qingci filled with fear. In her heart, the current Beiwang was the god of death, synonymous with mystery. Lu Chen smiled and said, "Qingci, what do you people from Yanyu Pavilion plan to do?" Lu Chen only subdued Wang Qingci, so he did not intend to keep the people in Yanyu Pavilion. It was best to eliminate all the factors that could not be completely controlled. He has not yet grown up enough to be an enemy of the entire world, and he still needs to be cautious in doing things. After hearing Lu Chen's question, Wang Qingci immediately replied, "My lord, don't worry, the new family and Mrs. Chu have already solved them all." Lu Chen was a little surprised when he heard Wang Qingci's answer. To be honest, she didn't expect Wang Qingci to be able to do it. After all, she was the saint of Yanyu Pavilion and had grown up in Yanyu Pavilion. Chu Yuqin asked at this time, "Chen'er, what do you plan to do next?" Now they have foiled another assassination attempt by Zula, but Chu Yuqin does not think that Zula will give up. This time, their deputy building owners died in Beiwang Mansion, and the Blood Moon Tower is known for its vengeance, so they will definitely come to take revenge. From now on, the situation of the palace will still not be very good. Lu Chen thought for a while and then said, "Let's put today's matter out and say that the mysterious master of the palace has not left. With the help of the master of the palace, we foiled another assassination attempt by Zula." Lu Chen doesn't plan to let more people know about his Desert Eagle and Bartley, so he can only use the mysterious master to deter those who are hostile to the palace. Chu Yuqin thought for a moment and thought that there was nothing wrong with Lu Chen's handling method. "Chen'er, go check on Zishuan and the others. Let us handle the matter here." Mu Zishuan and the others were still in the tunnel. They had probably heard the movements above the palace and were probably very worried at this time, so Chu Yuqin wanted Lu Chen to go and see them first. Mu Zishuan and the other three are all pregnant, so they cannot be too worried. Lu Chen said okay and turned around to leave. At the same time, inside the palace tunnel, Mu Zishuan and the Zhou sisters were looking worriedly at the top of the tunnel. Zhou Xiaoxiao said to Mu Zishuan at this time, "Sister Mu, will the prince be fine?" Zhou Xiaoxiao and Zhou Yuyu have experienced family confiscation and genocide, so they are very sensitive to this kind of thing. She does not want to go back to her previous life. It can be said that Beiwang is their two sisters' heaven. If something happens to Bei King, their heaven will collapse. Mu Zishuan said comfortingly, "Don't worry, the prince will be fine." Although Mu Zishuan did not witness the scene where Lu Chen used a mysterious weapon to kill a 9th-grade warrior last time, she heard it from the guards around her afterwards, so she believed that the man she married must not be simple, and the assassination in Zula would definitely be easy to deal with. They just need to wait here. At this moment, a tall and imposing man entered the tunnel. Seeing that it was Lu Chen, Zhou Xiaoxiao and Zhou Yuyu rushed forward without hesitation and hugged Lu Chen. "That's great, Your Majesty, you're okay." Oh, I'm scared to death." Lu Chen patted the backs of Zhou Yuyu and Zhou Xiaoxiao, smiled and said, "Okay, it's okay, it's okay." Chapter 38 Rumors in the Capital. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Early in the morning, Beijuan's army blocked Yancheng. On the streets, almost every street was full of soldiers coming and going. Seeing this scene, the people were so frightened that they ran towards their homes. At the same time, a group of soldiers surrounded the door of the sheriff's mansion. Before Leroy got up, he heard his wife entering the room in a panic and shouting, "Master, it's not good. Something happened." After hearing his wife's voice, Leroy got up from the bed and asked in a daze, "Madam, what happened?" Mrs. Li quickly said, "A group of soldiers came to the door and said they wanted to search the county governor's mansion." Hearing this, Leroy's eyes suddenly opened wide and he woke up instantly. He immediately stood up from the bed. "What's going on? Why are there soldiers searching the county governor's house?" Mrs. Li said, "I don't know what happened." "Master, go and have a look. They are about to break in." Leroy hurriedly walked towards the gate of the sheriff's mansion without even having time to put on his clothes. at this time, Leroy felt extremely uneasy. He wondered whether King Bei was going to take action against him, the county guard, but then he thought about it. He had handed over his military power and was still working diligently for King Bei. King Bei wouldn't do anything to him, right? He is now considered a member of the Northern King. How can any feudal king take action against one of his own people? If he is gone as the county guard, it will be even more difficult for the powerful groups that the King of Bei wants to control in Bei County. Soon, Leroy appeared at the door of the county governor's house. Seeing that the team leader who brought the soldiers was someone he knew well, Leroy breathed a sigh of relief and asked, "Colonel Wu, what are you doing?" That Wu Hong said with a smile, "Masterly, please forgive me. The prince was assassinated by the Blood Moon Tower assassin last night. It is said that several assassins escaped. The prince ordered us to search the whole city. No one's mansion will be spared." Hearing this, Leroy's expression changed and he quickly asked, "Is the prince okay?" Wu Hong said, "Don't worry, Masterly. Thanks to the mysterious master in the palace, the prince was just frightened and is fine." Hearing this, Leroy breathed a sigh of relief. If King Bei was killed, he, the county guard, might also be implicated. Then Leroy said, "Okay, you can search." Wu Hong cupped his hands and said, "Then I'll excuse you." Wu Hong then led the soldiers into the governor's mansion, conducted a brief search, and then led the soldiers to the next mansion. Soon, the news of King Bei's assassination spread throughout Yanqing. Almost everyone in Yanqing knew about the fact that Zula sent people to assassinate King Bei, but was foiled by the mysterious master of King Bei's mansion. Although King Bei is a useless prince, he is a prince after all, and the assassination of a prince is considered a big event. This matter soon spread to the capital, the 8th prince's residence. After seeing Wang Qingci's flying pigeon letter, Lu Shuyun became furious. He raised his arm and swept everything on the chopping board to the ground, and then overturned the table in front of him. Then there was a clanging sound in the study, and Lu Shuyun smashed everything that could be smashed in the study. Waste! Waste! A bunch of waste. 6 9th-level masters, 1 half-step master, can't even kill a trash. What's the use of you? After hearing Lu Shuyun's voice, the maids in the room stood aside and shivered, not daring to express their anger. Lu Shuyun really couldn't believe that this operation would fail. Even if the mysterious master is still in the North Palace, with the half-step master of the Blood Moon Tower, he can't be held back for a while, so that other 9th-grade warriors can create opportunities for Lu Qin to murder him. As a result, the Blood Moon Tower actually failed. Not only did the people from the Blood Moon Tower fail, but almost all the people sent by the Yenyu Pavilion were also killed. Only Wang Qingci escaped alone. It was said that he was seriously injured and could only hide in Yanqing to survive. Lu Shuyun felt like his lungs were about to explode. Originally, he had always thought that it would be easy to get rid of Lu Qin, a loser, but he failed twice in a row. With these 2 failures, it may not be so easy for them to attack Beiwang Mansion again in the future. Other forces are not fools. Even those like Shuyue Tower, which specializes in assassinations, have failed. There is a high probability that other killer organizations will not accept his mission. Just when Lu Shuyun was smashing things to vent his dissatisfaction, a servant hurriedly broke in. "Your Highness, it's not good. Something bad is going to happen." Lu Shuyun was furious now. Hearing the servant's roar, he became even more angry. He went over and kicked the servant against the wall. Fortunately, he was not very strong and did not kick the servant to death. After the servant spit out a mouthful of blood, he stood up quickly and said, "Your Highness, there are rumors in the entire capital that you sent the assassins from Shuyue Tower to kill him. King Bei, the purpose is so that the Jiangnan family can only support you in the fight for the right to inherit the throne." Hearing this, Lu Shuyun's brain froze and he froze in place. He quickly reacted and his face instantly darkened. My good brothers really never let go of any opportunity. Political things can be done but not said. What can be said cannot be done. Although fighting between brothers is relatively common in the royal family, it is taboo for any dynasty. Of course, people knew that the 8th prince wanted to get rid of the 9th prince the most. Their maternal clans all came from the Jiangnan family, and the Jiangnan family could only support one prince to participate in the heir apparent, but this kind of thing can only be known, and it must not be spread around. Once it is spread, it will be a scandal of royal brothers killing each other. Since this kind of thing is a royal taboo, why are there still rumors in the capital that he sent someone to assassinate the 9th prince? Obviously, there were other princes pushing him behind the scenes, with the purpose of disqualifying him from competing for the crown prince's position. Lu Shuyun was originally thinking about how to get rid of Lu Chen just now, but now after hearing the rumors in the capital, he could no longer touch Lu Chen. This is what can be said and done in politics. Since there are already rumors, if he sends someone to assassinate Lu Chen and Lu Chen dies, it will basically be confirmed that he did it. Even if he didn't kill Lu Chen, the ministers in the court who supported the other princes would say it was him, and the people would also think he killed the 9th prince. By that time, he would have completely lost his qualifications to compete for the crown prince position. Lu Shuyun clenched his fists, feeling very unwilling. Could it be possible to let that waste go like this? The first assassination and the second assassination were mainly for his own political purposes, but at this time Lu Shuyun was so angry that he no longer thought about the problem politically. He just wanted to get rid of Lu Chen now. Of course, this was just a temporary personal emotion, and Lu Shuyun soon calmed down. In any case, Lu Chen will not be able to be touched for the next period of time. At this time, Lu Shuyun turned to look at the bookshelf in the study, and then said to that side, "Send a message to Wang Qingci immediately, asking her to continue lurking in Beijing after recovering from her injuries, and not to take any action for the time being." After Lu Shuyun finished speaking, a dark figure came out of the window and left the study. Chapter 39: The Chu Family's Crisis. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Beijing, Royal Palace, Royal Garden. Emperor Xia, wearing a yellow dragon robe, was sitting in the pavilion, sipping the fragrant tea in his hand. At this moment, a soldier wearing armor suddenly appeared behind him. "Your Majesty, my subordinates have found out that the news that the 8th prince sent people to assassinate the 9th prince was spread by His Highness." Hearing this, the teacup in Emperor Xia's hand broke instantly. Emperor Xia snorted and said, "These children of mine are really becoming more and more restless. Is it possible that they all hope that I will die soon? They are you so anxious to be crown prince?" After seeing Emperor Xia's anger, Situ Su, the national advisor sitting opposite Emperor Xia, immediately said, "Your Majesty, please calm down. The position of the crown prince is still undecided. It is not surprising that brothers will attack each other. If your Majesty can establish the crown prince as soon as possible, it will be possible. Calm down some of His Highness' minds." Hearing this, Emperor Xia laughed, and then said, "Master, you are the only one who dares to say this to me. If someone asks me to establish a prince early, I will definitely have him dragged down to fight 100 battles." Having said this, Emperor Xia stood up from the stone bench and looked at the lotus pond in the imperial garden with his hands behind his back. "To be honest, I am more curious about how Xiaojiu survived than what happened in the capital." Emperor Xia's thoughts were similar to Lu Shuyun's. Even if the Chu family really sent a mysterious master to protect Lu Chen, there was a high probability that the assassination in Zula would be successful. According to the information obtained by the Shadow Guard, Shuyu at Tower sent a half-step master and 5 ninth-level masters to Beijing this time. In addition, Lu Shuyun himself had planted some chess pieces in Beijing. If they acted together, even if there was a grandmaster around, it would be unlikely that the Beiwang would survive. But King Bei just survived. This made Emperor Xia suspicious. Is the mysterious master around King Bei really just a master? Situ Su said at this time, His 9th Highness was able to survive, perhaps because His Highness was not destined to die, it was luck. Emperor Xia said calmly, "That's all, the farce should end. Since the Chu family has not sent anyone to Beijing to contact Xiaojiu recently, we will just let Xiaojiu mess around in Beijing. I will not interfere with his affairs in the future." Emperor Xia had people investigate the Chu family recently, and found that the Chu family had done nothing except sending Chu Yuqin and the mysterious master to protect Lu Chen when he went to Beijing to join the feudal clan. No one was sent to contact Lu Chen. It seemed like he had given up on Lu Chen. Emperor Xia even heard that the Chu family was very dissatisfied with Chu Xiong, the head of the family, and was already clamoring to change the head of the family. Chu Xiong himself was already in trouble, so it was normal that he didn't have the heart to care about Lu Chen, who was far away in Beijing. Emperor Xia immediately said to the red-robed eunuch beside him, "Pass my command. The eldest prince is spreading rumors everywhere, which is detrimental to the royal majesty. He will be banned for 3 months. As for the 8th prince." Having said this, Emperor Xia paused for a moment, and then continued, "Eunuch Lu, go and talk to the 8th prince later and tell him to stop." Upon hearing this, the red-robed eunuch in front of Emperor Xia immediately said, "Yes, your majesty." Then Eunuch Lu left the palace and went to the residences of the eldest prince and the 8th prince to deliver the decree. At the same time, Jiangnan, Su Fengqing, Chu family, an old man with gray hair was sitting in the yard, reading the letter over and over again. At this time, a middle-aged man wearing blue brocade clothes came in from the entrance of the courtyard. "Dad, didn't you say you would ignore the affairs of Prince Bei for the time being? Why don't you let Chen'er come back? And you actually secretly sent a grandmaster to protect Prince Bei, that the man's name is Chu Hongfei, Chu Xiong's son, and Lu Chen's uncle." After Chu Hongfei learned that there was a mysterious master in the Beiwang mansion, he was in a bad mood. Although Lu Chen was his nephew, he and Lu Chen didn't have much interaction, let alone any good feelings. What's more, the woman he likes has been following Beiwang, which makes Chu Hongfei even more unhappy. As for who the woman he likes is, of course it is Chu Yuqin. Faced with his son's question, Chu Xiong was silent for a moment, and then asked, "Hongfei, do you really think that I sent the grandmaster of Beiwang mansion?" Hearing Chu Xiong's words, Chu Hongfei was stunned for a moment. And then he said, "Besides you, who would send a grandmaster to protect a useless prince?" In Chu Hongfei's opinion, Chu Xiong probably thought that Lu Chen was his grandson, so he was afraid that he would be injured. So a grandmaster was sent there. Chu Xiong sighed at this time and said, "I did think about sending a grandmaster to protect King Bei, but when I thought about the various actions in the capital recently, I finally gave up this idea. I don't know where that mysterious master comes from." As for Yuqin, she voluntarily followed Beiwang to Beijing. Now she no longer listens to the Chu family's words. At this time, Chu Hongfei showed a suspicious look on his face, and then he asked, "Dad, are you lying to me? If it weren't for your order, how could Chen'er follow an unlearned waste? I don't believe it." Chu Xiong hated the iron and said, "Now that Emperor Xia is making constant moves, the commanders of the imperial guards in the capital have been changed again and again. Even Zhou Wangtian has had his family confiscated and his family exterminated, and Mu Changtian has also been imprisoned in the capital. Emperor Xia is obviously going to deal with it next. The aristocratic family has used the knife, and I still dare to have too much contact with King Bei at this time. Do you really think that I am an old fool? Are you afraid that Emperor Xia's knife will not come down fast enough? As for Yuqin, I advise you to give up as soon as possible. Although her husband died on the first day she married into the Wang family, she is still considered the Wang family's daughter-in-law." Hearing Chu Xiong's words, Chu Hongfei said thoughtfully, "Dad, if it is really not the grandmaster you sent to Beijing, then there should be no grandmaster who would protect King Bei." Chu Xiong touched his gray beard, and then said, "I was very confused when I saw the news at first, but I just received news from the capital. I'm afraid this matter has something to do with the eldest prince." Having said this, Chu Xiong handed the letter in his hand to Chu Hongfei. Chu Hongfei picked up the letter and glanced at it. The expression on his face changed again and again. Then he said, "Dad, do you think that the eldest prince sent a grandmaster to protect King Bei, and he wants to win over our Chu family in this way?" Chu Xiong said calmly, "It's not about winning over the Chu family, it's about winning over me." The letter in Chu Hongfei's hand was sent by the Chu family's spies in the capital. The spies found out that the eldest prince had spread news related to the northern king several times, including the news spread in the capital that the 8th prince sent someone to assassinate the northern king. It was also spread by the eldest prince. It looked like the eldest prince was protecting King Bei, but Chu Xiong is not a fool. This was obviously done to him by the eldest prince. As for whether the grandmaster around King Bei is a subordinate of the eldest prince, it's hard to say. As the eldest prince, the person most likely to become the prince, there must be a master under him, there is no doubt about this, but the grandmaster is not a cabbage. The eldest prince himself needs the protection of the Grandmaster. If he sends a Grandmaster to protect King Bei, then who in the capital will protect him, unless there is more than one Grandmaster around him? At this time, Chu Hongfei put the letter on the stone table, and then said, I don't care, no matter what, Chen'er must come back. What are you doing in Beijun with a useless prince? The environment in Beijun is so bad, she only has suffering. Hearing this, Chu Xiong burst out of anger and angrily said, You think about women every day, and that's all you can do. Now the Chu family is about to be in disaster, and you still think about women. Chu Hongfei said nonchalantly, What does the Chu family's impending disaster have to do with me? When that happens, I will take Chen'er to the Dou dynasty. Hearing Chu Hongfei's words, Chu Xiong almost breathed out. Get out! Get out of here! Chu Xiong yelled loudly. Seeing that Chu Xiong was angry, Chu Hongfei quickly left the yard. After Chu Hongfei left, Chu Xiong looked at the empty yard, sighed deeply and said, Heir, Daddy can't help you. He didn't protect you well at first, and now he doesn't even dare to send someone to protect your child.